welcome to the Razor's Edge website. We're very pleased to be able to speak to you.
All right. You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. I know that you've got a lot of interviews to do, so I'll get straight on with our discussion. And again, thanks for joining us. Wanted to ask you, first of all, before we get on to the new album, you're approaching the 40th anniversary of SODOM now, which is a long time. Does it feel like 40 years that you've been doing it?
No. I think the 40 years is in 2 years, We started in 82.
Okay.
Yeah, but I don't know. The time was running so fast, And when we started the band in 82, we never think about being so long,
Yeah.
in the scene, I don't know. It's, but I feel like 20, We are just in the business, writing new songs, and we are still creative and healthy, and we're gonna do it,
Yeah, sure. So thinking back to those early days when you started the band off, what were your ambitions at the time? Was it just to make an album? Was it just to play music with your friends? What did you want to do at the time?
Yeah, in the beginning we are just a couple of friends doing music, and I tried to do the music. When I remember the first demo, Witching Metal, and in '83 we came out with Victim of Death, We never think about being a professional band, But SODOM was one of the first bands who got the record deal in '84,
Yeah.
And then we started our career with the first In the Sound of Evil, And that was also the first time we've been in a professional studio and recording the songs track by track and all the stuff,
Yeah, sure.
But I think in '89, when Agent Orange came out, we were a professional band, so I could make my live from the music,
Yeah.
That was very important point in my life, I could stop my work in the coal mine,
Yeah.
and just making music, and that was a dream come true,
Absolutely. So was it around 89 when Agent Orange came out, that was when you actually knew that you could actually concentrate on this full time?
Oh yeah, I get so the record company told me I had to split on a coal mine. I don't want to split. I was working in a coal mine. I get my money every month. I was safe. And my father told me I have to stay in the coal mine.
Yeah.
And then I told my father I don't want to work there anymore. I just want to make music. And I got paid by the record company every month.
Yeah.
It was not so much what I get when I work in the coal mine, but I could make my live. I could pay my apartment, I could buy my beer and my cigarettes, and that was enough,
Yeah, and it was probably a bit safer as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was a big step, So I had more time writing songs or touring,
Mm-hmm. Sure.
But if you have a regular job in the coal mine, you could not tour anymore.
Yeah.
You don't have so much time, for touring and all this stuff.
Yeah, sure. So, talking of touring, you've obviously toured the world many times over the last 30-odd years or so. You must have many amazing memories. Have you got anything in particular that you look back on and you think, I still can't believe that happened?
Oh, no, there were so much things, I think the most important, I told you already, was when Agent Orange came out, I don't know, we had so many shows and festivals and so many albums out there. I don't know. There was too much,
Sure.
There were some bad things, some good things,
Yeah, I was going to ask you, there must be some bad memories as well.
Yeah, I think the bad memories when I split up with Chris Witchhunter in '92, which was my best friend in this time,
Yeah.
But I had to take the decision because he was an alcoholic. We couldn't work anymore, He canceled so many jobs and studio jobs and shows,
Yeah.
So that would be better to find a new drummer,
Mm-hmm.
And the bad things that I changed line-up and musicians so often,
Yeah.
And that is always a bad situation for me and for the other guys too, Because I always have to restart,
Absolutely.
When I have a new drummer in the band, I have to do the set list from the beginning and all this stuff,
Yeah.
but the positive thing is we are still alive, we are still there, doing music,
Absolutely. I was going to ask you about the turnover of band members, because it obviously is a challenge for you every time you lose a member, as you say, that you have to start again. But maybe your reputation of turning over band members a lot is a bit unfair, because some of the members that you've had with you have been with you a long time. Obviously, Burneman was with you for a good long period of time. Macca was with you for over 10 years. So it's a bit unfair at times to say that you were always turning people over. It's just the way it goes, I suppose.
I always try to keep the line up so long as possible, what you told already, Berneman was played about 20 years, and the drummer, Bobby Chodkowski, he played about 15 years in Sodom,
Sure.
Yeah, but I don't know, but sometimes I have to make a decision, And when I remember back, we had a 35 years anniversary show with Sodom in Bochum, and with all the guest guitarists and guest musicians, ex-Sodom members, being up on stage, And we did a soundcheck with Berneman and Macca, and after the soundcheck they leave,
Yeah.
And that was I was disappointed about this fact, that they leave the hall,
Yeah.
Because I want to make a soundcheck with all the other guys and talk a little bit what we're gonna do, talk about the set list, And I had so many ideas when Berneman was in the band, I always was talking about with Berneman taking a second guitarist in the band or changing the set list, And I realized that Berneman, he was never really interested in, He did just a job, doing the show or doing the studio job, whatever, but not more,
Yeah, sure.
And that was so disappointing to me. And that was the point where I took the decision I have to find new members in the band,
Absolutely.
And now it's perfect, Now we are like a family, we have a good friendship. Frank Blackfire is back on the guitars,
Yeah.
I have two young boys in the band, like it's York and Tony on the drums, And that fits perfect, And it's these guys have so many ideas for the next songs. These guys have ideas for changing the set list,
Yeah.
which is very important to me,
Mm-hmm.
I want to change the set list. If we have if you have a chance to doing shows next year, whatever, I want to change the set list from show to show,
Sure.
Because we have so many songs we never played live before, or we have so many older songs we never played,
Yeah.
And in my opinion, it's very important to show the people where we are coming from when we're going to play all the older material,
Absolutely, yeah.
So nowadays I'm so happy with the new lineup. I think that was the best decision in my life, and taking these guys to the band, and also Frank Blackfire's return.
Mm-hmm. And can I check with you? I know that you always wanted to have people in the band who were from the same kind of region, from the Ruhr, who had that kind of affinity with your background. But obviously, the Ruhr coal mining industry has changed, just like it has around the world. I think your last mine closed in 2018. So if you've got younger guys on board now, how do you manage to make sure that they've got the same kind of determination and grit that you had when you started, and that theory that you want about band members?
I think this guy's coming from the same area, which is, you have different cities here.
Yeah.
I come from Gelsenkirchen,
Mm-hmm.
and the other guys come from Essen.
Yeah.
Whereas also our rehearsal room located, So we are able to rehearse whenever we want,
Yeah.
And that's very important. When Tony joined the band in the beginning of this year, we start doing the set list for all the upcoming shows.
Yeah.
And, these shows get canceled or get postponed to next year, whatever, So we had more time to write the songs for the new album, And that is very important that we have the rehearsal room located in our city, So we can go there whenever you want,
Yeah.
And we spend a lot of time. We rehearse 2 or 3 times a week to get all the songs finished,
Yeah.
That is very important. When I was looking for a new drummer or for new guitarist, I get offers from South America, but I told them, so how we can rehearse, you know?
Yeah.
I know a lot of bands where the musicians living in different countries, you know, where the drummers coming from US, America, the guitarists from England, and they got to write the songs by MP3 trading, you know.
Yeah.
I don't want it, you know. I want to get the band in a rehearsal room, drinking a beer, you know, and starting a jam session.
Absolutely.
And maybe we got a song or not, you know. We will see, you know.
Mm-hmm.
That is very important, and that is what you listen on a new album, you know. That it's a band, you know.
Yeah. I've heard the new album. I've been privileged to hear it, and it's a ferocious album. I've got to give you your congratulations on that. It's your 16th album, but your first as a 4-piece. I understand. I think, and you've obviously got two guitarists that have got different backgrounds and different influences. Did having both of them involved in the writing process, was it helpful in terms of what the ideas that they brought to the table?
Oh yeah, it's very helpful because Frank is a different songwriter, completely different to York, you know.
Yeah.
York is a young metalhead, you know, and he's a real metal fan.
Yeah.
And I've been at home, and he has the biggest metal collection. He knows every band, you know. And Frank is somebody who is more influenced in rock guitarists like Roy Gallagher, Frank Marino, and all this stuff, you know.
Sure.
And the guitarists, which came from Frank, are completely different to York's stuff, you know.
Yeah.
But having two songwriters in the band, you know, helps to get more songs together, you know. And if you listen to Frank's song like Occult Perpetrator, you know, Euthanasia, and a couple of songs on the new album, you know, completely different to York. But it's amazing that Frank let's always keep the same guitar sound like in the 80s, you know.
Yeah.
I remember back when we did the first rehearsing sessions with Frank, you know, we played Agent Orange or Nuclear Winter and all the older stuff, you know. It sounds exactly the same like on the album, you know. I was so impressed about it, you know.
Yeah.
And that makes the album so colorful because we have completely two different songwriters, you know, in the band. And when you listen to a song, for example, Occult Perpetrator, you know, which is in the middle part, there's a kind of rock guitarist in it, you know.
Yeah, I know.
And it's very untypical for SODOM, but I like it, you know.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
And I told Frank, come on, we can do it. When I put my bass guitar on it in the end, or my vocals, you know, then it's a SODOM song, you know. Because I want to tell you, we are not a typical thrash band, you know. I think SODOM is a heavy metal band, you know, in my opinion, you know.
Sure.
So we can do what we want, you know.
Mm-hmm.
If it's a good song, it's very important to write good chorus lines, you know.
Yeah.
If you listen once or twice, you will never forget the chorus, you know. That is very important to me, you know. And I am also influenced by Venom and Tank and all the 80s bands, you know.
Yeah, yeah. So it's as I said, it's a ferocious album, but it's quite diverse, but it's definitely got the SODOM trademark on it. I was reading some of the reviews today that have come out already, and there's quite a lot that make reference to it having quite an old school sound. You know, they compare it, which reviewers always do, back to your previous music, and they're obviously the references back to the Agent Orange era and stuff. Do you have when you're recording? Do you have a kind of sound? You said that you can do what you want, but you obviously have a trademark sound that you do. Do you deliberately try and aim for that, or is it just whatever comes out as you write?
No, when we start recording the songs, you know, we recorded the guitars, you know, we recorded with a Marshall with microphones, like in the 80s, you know.
Yeah.
And that was very important to us, you know, that we don't use, a lot of guitarists use Kemper amps, which are very famous nowadays. It's a kind of digital profiling amplifier, you know, and other bands are going to use plug-ins for the guitars, you know. We don't, you know, we just recorded the bass and the guitars with microphones, you know.
Yeah.
And that, I think there is a little space between a microphone and a speaker, and there is some magic, you know. I can't explain, you know, but I think there is something
Sure.
which we try to catch all the time when we recorded the guitars, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And we recorded the guitars on a computer, but it's important to say that we went to the professional analog studio for the mixing, you know.
Yeah.
So we returned all the digital files to the analog mixing desk, and I think this will have some special effect, you know. Mixing on a desk, you know. I like the production from the 80s, you know. I like a big drum kit.
Mm.
If you listen to Kiss or old Venom stuff or Mötley Crüe, all these bands, you know, which have a really big prepared drum sound, you know, which I like so much, you know. Mm-hmm. But we always try to keep the SODOM trademark, you know, recording the bass guitar with a microphone, you know. It's very old school to do it, you know, but it's the only way for us, you know. Yeah. And the guitar you hear on the album is exactly the guitar song we have in the rehearsal room, you know, because we don't use any plugins, you know. You can record it, the DI signal from the guitars and put a plugin on it, you know. If you want to get the same guitar sound like Kirk Hammett or whatever, you know. We don't want it, you know. We just want to record our own sound, you know.
Sure.
And on the new album, that's a sound we are able to represent live, you know. Yeah. When we get a live source next time, you know. Mm-hmm. It is exactly the same guitars, and that makes it so different to all the other productions, you know. And if you realize that the bass guitar also is a little bit louder than it's usual, you know.
Yeah.
And I talked to my engineer, Ziggy, I said, listen to Venom, you know, or listen to Motorhead, you know. I think the bass guitar is the main trademark in these bands, you know. And that's what we're going to do all the time, you know. But albums like Decision Day or Epitome of Torture, which was completely digital recording and digital mixing and mastering, you know.
Right.
It sounds good, you know, but it don't sound organic, you know, or authentic, you know.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
It sounds plastic, you know. There are so many bands who recorded this using the same plugins for the guitar. They have the same guitar sound, you know. That's what we don't want, you know. I think to get the really old school effect, you have to record it analog, you know, on a tape. But it's not. No, there is no studio anymore who record it on tapes, you know.
Yeah.
It's also very expensive to do it, you know, nowadays, you know.
Yeah, sure.
So, in my opinion, the digital recording and the analog mixing, it's a good compromise between digital and recording and mixing, you know.
Yeah, I agree. I think the sound on it is really it captures exactly what you've said. Did you have any problems with the recording and getting everything done because of the pandemic?
Not really. I think the pandemic helps to record, to write the songs, because we spend more time for writing the songs, you know.
Right, yeah.
And when we did the studio, you know, we were wearing masks, you know.
Okay.
Because the engineer, Ziggy Bem, told me, okay, we have a pandemic, you know, we are sitting together, we are sitting close together, we're using masks, you know, if possible enough.
Sure.
But I don't know, I think wearing a mask or not, it don't help really, you know, in my opinion, you know.
Sure.
But we also had a lockdown.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about. Yeah.
So I don't know if you go to rehearsal room playing with a band. I don't know. That was forbidden, you know. But we did it.
Well,
you know,
the argument would be is that you were at your place.
There was no police controlling it, you know.
Yeah.
Because it's my job, you know.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
Writing songs and being in the rehearsal room, that is my job to do, you know. Yeah. It's not just for fun, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I was going to say. Just touching on the subject matter of the album, it's very varied. You move from Vietnam with one of the songs, and you've got the Harpooner, which is about Moby Dick and stuff. And you've talked about the subject matter that comes to you is things that weigh heavy on your mind and things. Do you ever have an opportunity to switch off, or are you always thinking about things to write about? Because obviously there's a lot to think about at the moment, isn't there?
Yeah, I think the most songs like Nicht mehr mein Land with the German title, with the German lyrics on it.
Yeah.
And some other songs about, these songs describes the situation we are living in this world. You know, we have so much problems. You know, in Germany and also in Europe. You know, and yeah, that's what I'm gonna write down. You know, I'm really scared about the future.
Mm-hmm.
What's happened in the next 20 or 30 years? You know. But I'm scared about my kiddies and the next generation growing up in this world, you know.
Sure.
And this is something I'm going to write down, you know. This is something I don't like, you know. I think also the Corona crisis shows so much social problems that we have here, you know.
Yeah.
You know, all the musicians, they cannot work, you know, the government don't really help them, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Because this kind of art don't counts here in Germany, you know.
No, I think it's the same.
So we have so many problems, and this is something I'm gonna write down, you know. And I try to write lyrics about themes, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, I cannot change anything because I'm not politically active, but I can scream it out, you know, on stage whenever or do in the studio, you know.
Yeah.
And it's a shame, you know. I don't know. There is so much bad things happen, you know.
Yeah, sure. Okay, well, let's talk about happier times. Last weekend in the UK would have been the weekend of the Damnation Festival, and that's an event that you played at in 2017, and I was there watching you at that gig. Can you remember much about it? Do you have any memories of that event?
No.
Okay.
We have so many shows I can't remember, you know, but playing in England is always something special, you know,
Yeah.
because we don't have so many shows here.
Yeah.
I hope that we could go to more shows, you know. I remember the Bloodstock, which is a great festival, you know, but being in England is always something special, you know. There was the show that was on tour with Exodus, you know.
Oh, yeah.
We've been there in England. That was brilliant, you know. People are getting really crazy, you know. This what I miss so much, you know. People coming up on say the stage diving, the sweaty shows, you know, and all the stuff, you know. This is what I miss, you know. And England is always something special, you know. We played a lot of times in Underworld, you know.
Yeah, I know it.
It's the hottest club I ever played in, you know. There is not really a stage, you know. You're standing really close to the fans, you know, but I like it, you know.
Yeah, sure.
And a friend of mine, Cliff Evans from Tank, is always coming visit us, you know. That was always funny.
Yeah.
You know.
Sure. So
I think we have to do more shows in England, you know. I think the first time we played in England was in '87, and we did a small tour.
Yeah.
I think we did 5 shows in England, you know. That was amazing, you know.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Well, it'd be lovely to see you over here again. Talking of shows, obviously we still don't know what's going to happen next year with shows. How many events, how many gigs did you actually have to postpone or cancel this year?
I think 20, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, 20. Yeah, we get some offers from a couple of bands going to do some shows here, you know, which we call in Germany Autokino. You know, it's a drive. You go by car.
Oh, the drive-in. Yeah.
You heard about? I don't know if they do it in England. You know, there's a job, but I don't want it. You know, I get some promoters who ask me doing a kind of. I want to see the people. You know, I want to. You are standing on stage and looking, just seeing cars. You know.
Yeah, sure.
That is not my job. You know, that is not what I want to do. You know.
No.
And we also have a kind of event church, you know, where it's a church where bands gonna play, you know.
Right.
And there was S6 show, Vela played there, you know. But the people sitting on a chair, you know, like in a church, like in a mass, you know. I don't want it, you know. That is not what I learned, you know. That's not my profession, you know.
Yeah.
I have to wait, you know. I wanna get shows, you know. I think a metal show, it's not just a band. I think a heavy metal show, it's also the fans and the audience, you know.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So it's a shame. So we have to wait, you know. We spend the time. We start writing new songs nowadays for the next album, you know.
Yeah,
if there are no more shows in the next times, we're going to release an album next year, you know. Sure.
Well, fingers crossed that we will get to see you again. Do just to go back to Genesis 19, the album art, I have to just quickly go back to that because it is a fabulous piece of work, and you've recommissioned the same person again. Did you have some input into that?
Oh, yes. I think when I came up with the idea for the album title, which is Genesis 19, you know.
Yeah.
I got in contact with Joe.
Yeah.
And we talked a little bit about it. And he said it's a brilliant song title, you know. And the song is about the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah, you know, destroyed by God, whatever, you know.
Yeah.
And then he told me that he has so many ideas to do an artwork about this. I sent him the lyrics, you know. I sent him the songs we already recorded and the demos we had recorded in the rehearsal room. And then later he did some scribbles by pencil. And I said, oh yeah, that's a good way to do it, you know. And then after 3 months, I get the final artwork, you know.
Yeah.
And it was amazing, you know. I think, you know, Joe Petagno is the godfather of art workers, you know.
Yeah.
He started with Motorhead, and he was a creator of the Motorhead Snaggletooth, you know.
Yeah.
And so it fits perfect to the lyrics, to the music, the album cover, and the completely outfit, you know. And I'm really glad with him, you know. I'm so proud that he did it, you know.
Yeah.
Because he don't work for any other band. So if Joe don't like the music or don't like the band, he don't do the cover, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really something special, you know, to work with him, you know.
Sure. And he's done a brilliant job. I mean, it is an amazing cover. I can't wait to see it on vinyl. Just to
I got it on vinyl here. I get also a box set, you know.
Yeah.
And the vinyl is coming in 5 different colors here, which I don't like, you know.
Just black.
You know? But the record company that's usual doing vinyl in different colors, in different packages, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know why they're going to do it, but I know there are collectors who need every single color, you know, in their collection, you know. And that's a business, you know.
Yeah. Can I just finish by asking you just a more general question? What kind of music do you listen to these days? Do you stick to the old stuff, or do you listen to new stuff? What makes you excited these days about when you're listening to music?
I listen to old stuff. I get the magazines every month, you know, with always with CDs in it, the samplers with different newcomer bands. I listen to, you know, but I'm not an expert, you know. I don't know. There are so many bands released every month, you know.
Yeah.
There were really hundreds of bands coming out every month, you know. So I never have the time to listen, or I don't have the money to buy all the stuff, you know. When I listen to music, I take my old school collection, you know. I get my old Raven, my Tank stuff, you know, my Motorhead, my, I don't know, whatever, you know.
Yeah.
And this is something I really enjoy, listening to the old bands, you know. Mm-hmm. But I'm always interested in newer bands and what they're going to do, you know.
Yeah.
But I don't get inspired by them, you know.
Sure.
I'm old school metal fan, you know. And when I listen to old Venom or old Motorhead stuff, you know, I get remembrance coming back from the 70s or from the 80s, you know.
I understand.
Which I enjoy so much, you know.
I understand.
But I'm always interested. When we're going to play on festivals, I have enough time. I go to look to other stages and see other bands, you know.
Yeah.
I'm always interested in, you know. But my guitarist, York, he knows every band, you know, every newcomer band, you know.
Yeah.
I don't, you know.
Brilliant. Tom,
maybe I'm too old, I don't know, but I'm still a metal fan, you know.
Absolutely. You don't have to be into everything to know what you want and what you like. Tom, it's been an absolute pleasure to speak to you. I wish you all the best with the album launch and everything else, and I hope that things can level out as quick as possible to get you back on the road, which is obviously where you want to be. Appreciate your time, and thank you very much for speaking to me today.
Thank you very much, and take care, and hope to see you soon.
All right. Bye now.